What's good, man? It's Dallas Martin, president of Asylum Records here at the Bootleg Kev Podcast.
Yo, Bootleg Kev Podcast. We got a special guest in here, man. The homie Dallas
What's good?
is here. Dallas Martin, man. Welcome, brother.
Happy to be here.
Yes. First of all, we got to get the mic close to your face.
Am I close enough?
Yeah, there we go. There we go.
I'm not used to, having the mic so close. I ain't no artist, so.
Yeah, welcome, man. I feel like the last few years you really established yourself as like one of the most powerful dudes in hip hop.
Man, that means a lot, man. I appreciate
Yeah,
that.
man.
Definitely.
You know, on the executive side, the A&R side, for people who don't know, at this point in time, what is it that Dallas does, and what is it that, because you have so many titles at the moment. You just got a new title, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so right now, I'm president of Asylum Records, and it's a label under Warner Music Group, which also has Atlantic Records, Warner Brother Records, and Elektra. So they gave me my own, my label inside the situation. But with this situation, I still carry my title at Atlantic as far as EVP of A&R, so I'm still on the executive team over there. So what it really is that the Asylum label is more of a upstart incubator system for me to sign kind of more development acts, acts that I just truly believe in, that I feel that are talented, that I have to develop. Then once I develop them and get them some spark, I could upstream them to Atlantic, to me, and give them bigger budgets, just a bigger company to kind of help push their vision forward.
So you're on like both sides of the coin.
Yeah.
So you upstreamed yourself.
Yes. Yeah.
That's fucking crazy.
So I could go downstairs, sign it, then take them upstairs with
meet me in my office up there.
Exactly. So it's very unique, man. But, just giving me an opportunity to work with more people that, I wasn't able to work with just being at Atlantic. Because, Atlantic's such a big label with so many big artists.
Yeah.
It's hard for you to be a new artist with nothing going on and get attention at that label. So, this just creates a bridge for opportunity for young artists.
For people who don't know, where are you from?
I'm originally from Flint, Michigan.
Okay.
And I went to college in Atlanta, Georgia, and that's where I started my music journey.
Yeah, give us like kind of a background on how you got into the music industry.
So my whole goal to go to Atlanta was to get into school at Clark Atlanta because I wanted to get into music. That was like my dream from high school. And I knew that Atlanta was, a city that was up and coming with a lot of entrepreneurs in the music business. So I went down there, got into school, and, just worked every year trying to figure out a way to get an internship. During that time, it wasn't no social media and easy avenues to break into, get an internship. Like nowadays, It's more easy, the internet and just, things that come about. But when I was coming up, we had to go to like the open mics, the workshops, the A&R workshops, and get played by mad people who really didn't really want to be there, giving you fake information and shit like that. So I realized after my sophomore year, I needed to get on my grind and figure out ways to bring people to me. So that's when I started throwing parties in college.
Okay.
And it kind of led me through an avenue where I was meeting executives, and then in my senior year, I finally got an internship with Shakir Stewart at Def Jam.
Wow. Okay, so what year was this?
So I didn't get an internship to my senior year. I was about to give up.
So you were throwing parties what year?
Sophomore year to my senior year.
But like what year?
2000. So I got into school 2002. So I got my first internship in 2006.
Wow. It's crazy too because I feel like a lot of people start throwing parties.
Yeah.
And that's how they get into this shit.
Yes.
Like Scooter Braun, like that's how he got into this shit. You know? In Atlanta, probably around the same time.
Absolutely. Yep. Scooter was around. I mean, I remember him bringing Justin Bieber to the Def Jam office for the first time when he was like 13 years old. So like it just a lot of dope memories from that era, man. Atlanta was just on fire.
Oh yeah, that was like vintage.
Jeezy, Tip, Luda.
Everybody.
It was just crazy.
If fast forward, so you end up interning at Def Jam, and by the way, I just had to go on Twitter. Were you getting paid to intern?
Absolutely not.
Okay, cool. I just want to make sure because there's this thing going around on Twitter about unpaid internships, and I'm like, unpaid internship literally changed my life.
Mine too, and I did it for 2 years for free.
I did it for 14 months. Fresh out of high school with a newborn baby.
Ooh.
I was trapping at the swap meet selling bootleg CDs on the weekend and working for free Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
I feel like the entire generation that we're a part of, like that we see coming up now, they don't even know what this it's this entitlement thing with these young kids,
it's
man.
Sad, man. It's instant gratification. Nobody wants to work for nothing anymore. Everybody wants to be rich as the person that put them on immediately. It's crazy.
And the other thing too is like I've saw people on Twitter like, man, I interned here for a year and nothing happened after. It's like, well, because obviously you ain't had it, bro. Like if you were that dope and you were putting in the work you need, like it's just gonna work.
Like I literally got to the office before my boss did and left after him every day.
Me too, man.
Like I wanted to make sure he knew that I wanted this shit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I was with radio. Like even when I started to get paid, I would be at the radio station doing the morning show for free from like 4 a.m. until about 11 a.m.
Yeah.
Then I'd go do a street hit, which is when I finally started to get paid. So I'd be doing that shit all day. Check this out. Then I would do my overnight so I would literally go home and sleep for like 4 hours. I'd be at the radio station,
grinding
18 hours out the day, just grinding. I just feel like that's important for people to understand. Like this shit ain't like we really work to get where we at, bro.
And I think, when you put that level of hard work ethic into, the structure of your daily life, like it shows why, people like us are where we're at today. You know what I'm saying? Because we know what it takes to get there.
That's some real shit.
Important.
Yeah. So you started to intern. What was your first paid gig in the music industry?
So from my internship, Shakir Stewart gave me a consultancy with Def Jam. So from that consultancy, I got to work on projects that he was working on. So my goal was to work on everything he didn't really have time to work on. So I used to just be in the studio every day, and he had a R&B group that he was working with. And I ended up getting their first single. So from that situation,
which R&B group was it?
They were called Brother back in the day.
I think I remember.
They had one song with Fabulous. They were brothers. They had a show on BET. It was
okay.
It was quick.
Hey, if they would have been out now, they probably been popping on YouTube with their family and shit. But
absolutely, yeah. They were like this first when reality TV really kind of got started too in the music shit. So I got an opportunity, and L.A. Reid got to see my value. And from there, I got hired full-time in 2009 at Def Jam.
Wow.
Yeah, January 2009, he brought me on full-time.
So that was like 2009. This is like when Rihanna really started to like...
She was running the label for sure.
Yeah, that was like when Rihanna first was like a superstar.
On fire.
Yeah, she was
Tricky and Dream.
Yep.
Rick Ross.
Yep.
It was good times over there.
And what year was Jay running Def Jam?
Jay left.
That was prior.
2008.
Okay. Yep.
Because Shakir took his spot, but was promoted into that position after he left. And Shakir passed away, committed suicide, and that's what happened. That's how I got with L.A. Reid, because L.A. Reid kind of brought me on because he knew what was going on with me. So, because I was in Atlanta and everybody was in New York.
And what was your title in 2009 when you got hired?
Just a director of A&R, just a regular, the lowest level of A&R you could get.
Wow.
But, shit, I'm 24 years old. I'm at fucking Def Jam as an A&R. Couldn't believe it. I'm from Flint, Michigan.
You're living in Atlanta?
I'm living in Atlanta, but going to New York every week.
Wow. Living the dream.
Couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
First time in New York, I'm going to the Def Jam building, sitting in the motherfucking A&R meeting with DJ Khaled,
right?
Tricky and Dream, Lenny Yes, motherfucking just crazy shit. Shit was mind blowing.
I think that there's a very define what an A&R does, because I think that people who are just watching this, who might not be involved in the music industry, they hear that term so much they don't really understand what it is.
So A&R has multiple things that you have to be good at. So a lot of people think A&R is just hearing a song on the radio and being like, that's a good song. Or I saw an artist and he's dope. What people don't understand is once you sign that artist, you have to help them put their project together,
right?
Make sure that they have the right songs to put out. Then you have to deliver that album. That means get your artist to give you the project to be like, this is it. I'm ready to go in the public with it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Jesus Christ.
Sorry. So the hardest part of A&R is getting your artists to deliver their album. You know what I'm saying? Because their project's their baby. And a lot of time artists are insecure with their music at some points in it. And, that's a big thing for you. It's a very vulnerable situation for artists to give music to the world for the world to critique them.
Of course.
So, just different levels of A&R. And, the record making process is a big part as far as knowing the right writers, producers, and people just to put in the studio with them.
So you'll come to the table and say, hey, I think this person would mesh well with this person. So like, let's put you in with this producer let's see what comes out of it.
Absolutely. And, you have to be there in the studio with them to make sure that, because they're not going to come and be like best friends.
Right. You're kind of like you're kind of the middleman.
Yeah. So you have to make sure that everybody's comfortable with the creative process, but you have to know the creative process from both sides, the artists and the writers and the producers, to make sure that everybody could come together, and make magic together, which is the hit record.
What year did you officially come to Atlantic?
So I got fired after my first year at Def Jam.
Okay.
Because I couldn't deliver an album from an artist that was on there.
Which artist was it?
It was Joel Santana, my brother. I love him. Shout out Joel's.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? He just was in a position where he didn't like what was going on at the label. I don't think it really had nothing to do with me. But he wasn't confident in them. You know what I'm saying? And we still remain good friends and have a good relationship. But L.A. Reid, he let me go. But, it was during the time that the music business, everybody felt like was crashing. The budgets were getting smaller. The opportunities were getting smaller. You know what I'm saying? Because it wasn't a lot of money coming in. This is when Napster and, all the piracy was really at a high level.
By the way, did Joel's ever turn in that album?
No.
I was about to say, because if that was like 2010, I'm like...
Nah,
I'm like, did that? Yeah.
He never did, but
I don't recall that.
Yeah, but so it didn't work out for me with that situation. You know what I'm saying? And I learned a lot from that situation, and it was no hard feelings. So I didn't. I took a month to kind of just regroup in Atlanta. Then I just got back on my grind, and got a phone call one day from Joey IE, and he set up a meeting with me. He told me he was relaunching the Urban Division at Warner Brother Records, which eventually turned into Atlantic.
Yeah.
And he gave me a interview and an opportunity from there.
So that was the era when MMG went to Warner Brothers?
So yeah, so I had a relationship with Rick Ross because Shakira signed Rick Ross and Jeezy. So the first two albums Rick Ross did, he recorded in the office where I interned at.
Yeah, okay.
So I built a strong relationship with him and Gucci Poochie. So, they just saw my come up, and, I was Shake little guy. So, they always kept their eye on me. So when I got to Warner Brothers the first day on the job, I just called Ross, like, you got to bring Maybach over here. It's wide open.
So you were very instrumental in bringing that.
Oh, absolutely. Because me and Ross was super tight. I pretty much Joey helped me put it together because Joey was the boss. So, it was like, my relationship. But, obviously, you got Joey, Todd Moskowitz, and Leo Cohen, who are the chairmen and people who are running the company. And I'm the lowest level A&R. So, through my relationship, I brought the meeting to them. We had the meeting together, and Rick Ross expressed to them, how important me being involved with it would be if he did the deal there. And we got the deal done 2 weeks later.
I remember how big of a deal that was. Because I remember, my boy Lee was over at Warner Brothers and...
Lovely.
Love that guy.
Yeah, good guy.
There was like no hip hop though.
It was nothing.
It was like dry as fuck.
It was Jill Scott, I think.
And then MMG coming over at the time. Ross is the hottest thing moving.
Yes.
Meek is the hottest thing in the streets.
Yeah. And people in Wale.
And then even Pill was moving.
Dope. Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
I just remember that moment was so big, bro. Like,
yeah.
That's history. I didn't even know that you helped bring that situation over.
Yeah, that's what got me to start it as far as just getting some credibility. Because from there, me and Wale did Lotus Flower Bomb.
Yeah.
And put out Wale's project that did super well, went #1. Then from there, I did Meek, Dream Chasers 2, and Dreams and Nightmares. And I pretty much did every MMG project that came out on the Warner Brothers system until we even transferred over to Atlantic.
Yo, so when you first heard first of all, were you around when the Dreams and Nightmares intro was recorded?
Yes, we was at the Satai Hotel.
I gotta hear this story because this is a song that will forever get played at every single club you go to.
Yeah,
one of the greatest rap songs ever created.
Yeah. So it was crazy because we was all on the high from the Dream Chasers 2 mixtape.
Classic.
it was incredible. You know what I'm saying? It was like we made that project in LA at the Boom Boom Room, and like that was probably like the funnest project I ever worked on in my life, because that was like we all just coming up and we new to LA. We're living in LA now, you know, and it's just like the studio we had, it was just like great energy, you know what I'm saying? And this before like Instagram took off. So
of course.
A lot of the women that were Instagram big models this day were like, you know, just around hanging out with us. It was just great energy. Made that project. Then Meek goes on tour and they like, well, we need an album. We still got 3 or 4 songs coming out from this mixtape. So Meek gets off tour and we at Ross house and he plays us like the beginning with the strings and all the piano. We like, what the fuck is this? You know, this shit is crazy. So then he was like, yo, but this is what I'm gonna do right here in this party stopped, and I'm gonna have B Bully do this part, boom, boom, boom. So then like 2 or 3 days later, we at the Satai Hotel and he got the beat finished. And he just went in the booth, right? And he like kind of surprised us. And that shit, hold on, wait a minute.
Oh, man.
He was like, shit was crazy. And like we knew right then and there that shit was a smash, but we ain't think that shit was gonna be like one of the biggest songs.
Yeah, it's crazy because when you hear that record, you're like, this is a great intro. But to ever think that that's like a record that would work in the club, you would never think that.
Yeah, because we would have went with that for the first single.
And also, you would never even think to go for that as a single.
Yeah, like we go put the intro out as the first single, no hook, no nothing. So it was interesting, but you know, man, listen, man, everything happens for a reason. So
what was the first single from that?
I'm Young and Getting It.
Yeah, that's right. I'm young and I'm getting it. Yeah.
Yep.
Who was it? Who was on
Kurt
the hook?
Cobain.
Oh, wow.
When he was
Shout out to
Warner.
Kurt Cobain.
Yep, because I was A&R his project at Warner Brothers.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And he had like 2 joints that went #1. So I'm like, yo, this
Drinking my cup. Yeah, Kurt was a very talented kid, man.
So it was good time. Shout out Kurt Cobain, man. You know what I'm saying?
You kind of helped spearhead that MMG movement on the A&R side. And I do remember when everything kind of moved over to Atlantic.
Yep.
Is that when you kind of went over to Atlantic?
Yeah, so what that happened was, you know, Joey left for Def Jam a year later. Then the year after that, we was there for 2 years. Todd Moskowitz started his own company with Leo at 300.
Yep.
So with Warner Brothers, Atlantic, and everybody being under the same umbrella, which is Warner Music Group, they just merged all the urban staff and urban artists to Atlantic.
Yeah, and then it was like Macklemore at Warner.
Yeah, it was rap. Warner was a rap after that.
It was a rap, for sure.
Yeah, so Atlantic, then we just, you know, I went into working with Julie Greenwald, Craig Cowman, and Mike Kaiser, and they really helped like mold me as an executive, you know what I'm saying? So I really, you know, appreciate them because they really, you know, took me and, you know, kept my path as far as where I was doing. They like kind of took it to the next level.
What was the... I want to definitely get to you working with Nipsey, but what was the first project officially at Atlantic that you were a part of?
So I signed K. Michelle.
Okay.
Because I was like, let me do some R&B shit real quick so they don't just stick me in this A&R box in a Marion, Post to Be.
Oh, yeah.
So
smash.
Yeah, so we did Post to Be, then K. Michelle had 2 #1 R&B albums from reality TV shows. So everybody was flipping out because now it's like, are you doing R&B shit now?
I met her in New York, and I couldn't believe the size of her ass. Shout out to her, man.
Yeah, man.
I took a picture with her. I was like, this is interesting. Hey, it's crazy because K. Michelle, I feel like, is like one of the most prolific R&B singers of the last
so talented, man.
10 to 15 years. Like,
very talented.
I feel like we got to put more respect on her name for sure.
Yeah, man. She's very talented, man, for sure. She's very fun to work with, man, and you know, shit just keeps going though.
Talk about Nipsey coming over to Atlantic, because I know he was on Atlantic for a while, but it wasn't like announced.
Well, no, yeah. So what happened was, I started the process of trying to sign Nipsey when I was at Warner Brothers.
Okay.
He didn't want to sign, of course.
Was that when there was conversations about Ross
MMG.
trying to bring in MMG?
Absolutely.
Okay. So you were a part of those conversations?
I was part of all that. I was bringing him to Miami. We were doing sessions and...
By the way, Ross was trying to sign everybody. He was trying to sign Wiz.
Yeah. Ross had a good
Dom
French
Kennedy.
Montana.
Yeah, everybody.
Yeah. We really wanted... Nipsey and Dom was like, we wanted to settle the West Coast with them. That was like big. That would have been big for us. Like to this day, like I still wish in my heart that happened because everybody. What I want everybody to understand, like you guys, everybody can still have their own companies and do their thing, like what Meek did with Dream Chasers and like.
Well, I always tell everyone Ross is like one of the only examples of an artist who became an executive that did it the right way. Absolutely. Because I feel like he genuinely wanted every artist on his label to be bigger than him.
Yeah.
And I think that's the problem most of the time when you have artists sign another artist. In their heart of hearts, it's some ego shit involved. They really don't want their artist to be bigger than them.
Yeah.
But Ross, I feel like, was like, his heart was in the right place.
Yeah.
And it kind of showed like with the success of the label. Before we get to Nipsey, like kind of give me that backstory about how close the Nipsey and Dom shit was, because I always heard Nipsey and Dom were very close to going to MMG.
I mean, you know, the talks got, you know, very intense. Deal structures were talked about, you know, things like that. But, you know, one thing I could say about Nipsey and Dom, they were very keeping their brand and what they were, you know, what they were developing on their own was very important to them, and they didn't want that to be overshadowed. So I think them just being, you know, their own bosses was very important to them. And it was like, you know, 100% understandable when they didn't want to do the MMG situation. You know, it was more so of you know, we just all wanted that shit to happen because we just know how dope that shit could have been. But, you know, at the end of the day, they made a decision to do their own thing, which, you know, still worked out for them. So
was Wiz ever close to doing the MMG thing?
I don't think Wiz was ever close. Okay. Yeah.
Because I remember, what was that?
Currency and Wiz was doing music.
What was that? What was that remix with Neo? That Currency and Wiz hopped on.
I know what you're talking about, but I forgot the name of the song.
All right, so you had already been talking to Nip prior at Warner. How did the, you know?
The dope shit with Nip, man. You know, Nip's really about, you know, just he a real solid person. So if you just honest with him and direct, and I just kept a relationship with him, even though he didn't do the deal. And I think that's what made him fuck with me even more, because it was just more so, it's like, I just made sure I sent beats to him. You know, I was like, because I just was a fan of Nip.
Of course.
And I used to always tell him, like, bro, whenever you want to do something, bro, just let me know. I'll make sure that I structure it the way you want to. Like, I know what's important to you as far as your masters and shit like that. And so when I went over to Atlantic, Steve-O was an A&R over there too, and he was managing. He just started the process of managing Nipsey.
Yeah.
So me and Steve-O worked together really hard to you know, figure out how to get him over to Atlantic. But one day Nip just called me out the blue and like, "What you doing today?"
Right.
I'm like, "Shit, nothing." You know what I'm saying? "What's up?" He like, "Me, let's go to lunch." I'm like, "Bet, meet me at the Roosevelt in an hour."
Right.
And we sat at the Roosevelt for an hour, talked about what we wanted to do. And shit, I want to say like 2 or 3 weeks later, we had another meeting with Craig Kalman. I had Craig fly out to LA. We sat down at the one of them expensive hotels, the Peninsula or some shit. And we sat down with Nip and ironed out the deal structure, and shit, the
what
rest
year
was
was
history.
This?
2014.
Yeah, I'm telling you, like, a lot of people don't realize Nip.
It took us 3 years to do the first project,
and it also, like, he was so careful about announcing that.
Yeah, we kept it real hush, like, because, you know,
I think a lot of people in the industry knew, but like he didn't announce it publicly until.
Yeah, a lot of people in the industry knew. I think a lot of people wasn't aware of like how important his first project that he delivered, because he still put out mixtapes people don't remember, like during the time.
Mailbox money, all kinds of shit. Yep.
So he still was staying active and working hard, but, you know, he really had a vision of how he wanted his major label release to be. And it just took some time to do it. But, you know, what was so dope about our relationship was I never pressured him. You know, I made sure that he had everything he wanted to make sure that he could deliver the project he wanted. So, you know, my whole thing was just making sure that he had everything he needed.
Wait, we got to take a break in the interview real quick to mention our sponsors, Odd Socks. Listen, if you are into comfortable socks on your feet, amazing underwear on your ass, and or fly-ass masks on your face, make sure you go to Odd Socks, man. The most comfortable socks in the fucking world. OddSocksOfficial.com. When you check out, use the keyword Bootleg Kev, and you'll save 20% off. They got some crazy licenses: Pimp C, Mac Dre, Mike Tyson, Rocky, Scarface, WWE, whatever the fuck you want, they got. Then they got the Odd Socks basics. They got all kinds of ill shit, all right? And I'm telling you, I wouldn't be telling you if I didn't actually wear the shit myself. And all I do is wear Odd Socks. I got some on my ass right now. I got some on my feet as well. all that. So go to oddsocksofficial.com, keyword Bootleg Kev, all together, and you'll save 20% off at checkout. Oddsocksofficial.com. Go fuck with them. Victory Lap was obviously classic, and the attention to detail that you just spoke about. That's why I always appreciated Nip. I feel like everything he did had intention, and it was always on purpose. It was like he understands what it means to have a debut rap album, and like how important that is to deliver on, because he's a hip hop head too, you know. Yep. So the process of you like helping with A&R in that album, walk us through that, because there was like some records on there that were just so like, you know, like hearing Belly on Double Up, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like what did you bring to the process? Because Nip obviously had his the way he made records, but I feel like there were some records on Victory Lap that were just so like elevated from anything we'd ever heard from him before.
So what was dope about the whole situation, you know, Mike and Keys, and 1500, man, they were like the producers that kind of laid out the foundation for the project. And I remember one day, like, I brought him Hustle and Motivate, you know what I'm saying? And I remember just being there and his eyes lighting up, like, when I played him the beat for the first time. And, like, we talked about him being in the 6'4" in Times Square with Hove in the passenger seat, like, just talking, like, it was just like before he recorded that song, it was like that was like our first record we did together. Wow. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it was just like little thing, but more so it was just like beats. Like, you know, Nipsey liked to just have beats that he fuck with, and he respected just my opinion on verses and structures of songs and things like that. But, you know, that shit was pretty much all put together with Nipsey's vision.
Were there any records, because you hear rumors and stuff, but were there any features that were supposed to happen or that didn't end up happening on Victory Lap?
No, not really. I mean, I think the biggest thing what was important to him was the Kendrick feature.
Right.
Yeah, and that was cool. I mean, Jay-Z, of course, everybody wants that, but, you know, with Jay-Z, everything happens for a reason. Of course, he got the song with Jay-Z now. That's amazing.
Of course. So. Puffy, getting Puff Daddy to talk shit, was that something that was that like a hard thing to get him in that?
No, so what happened was the album was done.
Yeah.
And he went to go play it for Puff. And I think Puff was just so inspired when he heard the project that he had to put his fingers on it. You know what I'm saying? And his ear and his touch on it. And, you know, Nipsey is a big, Puff's one of the people he really look up to in the music business. So, of course, you know, if you have Puff wanting to work with you and, you know, add certain elements to the project, you're going to let him jump in and do that. So, you know, I think it was just inspiration based.
Is there a lot of, like, because we had Jay Stone up here and he said that there's obviously a lot of unreleased Nipsey music out there, or not out there, but, you know, stuff that he recorded. Mm-hmm. Is there going to be any sort of album, you know, we've gotten a Pop Smoke album. Tupac passed and we got we know how many albums he put out after he died. But is there any discussions of even exploring that?
I mean, you know, everybody knows how big of a perfectionist Nipsey was. And, you know, from me, I wouldn't be comfortable being involved with putting out no more Nipsey music in the future because
he's not there to
approve it. And I don't want to stand on it thinking that I'm powerful enough to say, no, this is what he would have wanted. So if Black Sam or somebody in his family or, you know, somebody that, you know, that I feel like could make that call wants to do it, of course I would help out. But I would never want, like, I think he left a legacy that's so crazy in that last project. I just wouldn't want to cloud it.
That's fair.
You know?
Was because Racks in the Middle was a record that kind of came out as like a Lucy. Was that supposed
to be the first single for the next project?
Of the next project, right.
Yeah. Yeah. Because we were about to start doing more features and like.
Damn, man. Yeah, because I remember when he dropped the record, he came up to the station and I was like, yo, so is this the single? He's like, it's just a song for now, you know? Like, we going to.
Yeah.
Damn.
I mean, especially with the success it had, you already know that would have catapulted to, and we had some shit.
It's crazy. Talk to me about Roddy, because it's funny because Nipsey was actually the first person that ever introduced me to Roddy Ricch. Okay. And I have one of my friends from Phoenix, JD Films, shot all of Roddy's first video. So he did like all the early shit. So I'd kind of been up on him. You know, I remember when you guys first signed him, I'd already been kind of hip to what he was doing. You brought Roddy into the fold at Atlantic.
Yep.
How did you end up meeting Roddy Ricch? Give us that, because I feel like Roddy's one of them ones that, whenever he drops, it's over.
Yeah, for sure. I'm definitely looking forward to that. So, after all the stuff was going on, just like with the success with all the artists, I was really in a space where I wanted to find something new and work with something from scratch.
And when you guys started working together, it wasn't like Roddy was like, he didn't have a shit ton of followers.
One song out, 3,000 followers.
I was gonna say, like, I remember like when I saw that, I was like, yo, that's dope that he got that you fucked with him, because I remember looking at his followers. I was already following him. I remember he only had like 10,000 followers or something.
Yep. So I had a couple of interns at the time. One was Kiefer.
Yep.
And I met Kiefer through Nipsey. So Nipsey was just telling me, he's a good dude or whatever. I really didn't know much about Kiefer. And Kiefer was very consistent as far as, building a relationship with me. So I got him an internship to work with me. And, with all my interns, the main goal is to kind of I set up like accounts for them to go through beats. So I have people submit beats, and every week I'd be like, yo, bring 2 or 3 artists to me that you fucking with, that you seen online or whatever. And we could go over and go through music. And Roddy was one of the artists that Kiefer saw on YouTube. So when he played it for me, I was like, yo, find the kid and let's figure out, get him in the studio and see what he could do. He reached out, got Roddy in the studio, played me a couple records, and I was like, yo, this kid's amazing. So I went to the studio to see Roddy in action, and he did like 3 or 4 songs in one night. I couldn't believe it. Wow. Because a lot of artists, they can't make music that consistently, and they always got excuses. Oh, something's wrong.
Oh, I've been in the studio with artists where it's like you'll be in the studio for 8 hours and you came away with 1 record.
Yeah. So right then I knew, I was just like, yo, man, I gotta get this kid signed because he's special. And Craig Hellman happened to be in LA during this time, and I just took him to meet with Craig, and Craig was like, if you want to do it, just do it. And we got the deal done.
Do you feel like that is the because we look back at Nip, and Nip had been a name. He was obviously huge in the hip hop world prior to Victory Lap. He was already a staple. But Roddy Ricch was someone who no one knew who Roddy Ricch was. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. And I think that's when I think of like labels and like where things are now, it feels like the days of that kind of shit happening are gone. Yeah. Like you gotta already have all this shit going on.
Yeah, at least do shit off analytics. I'm still a gut scientist.
I was gonna say even Simba. We can get to Simba in a little bit, but like that's why I appreciate that about you and your track record is like someone like Roddy Ricch. Yeah. Like you guys really built, like Roddy built from the ground up. You know what I'm saying? Like you guys built with him and dropped mixtapes with him, and there was everything was it was I mean to for lack of better words, it was like a marathon, not a sprint. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, for sure.
Do you think that kind of like Roddy Ricch kind of and his success kind of changed your career, and like people's like yo, like Dallas really knows? I mean, obviously it's easy.
Absolutely, because every time I had success with, the MMG situation, they always gave Ross credit.
Well, yes, MMG, Ross is hot. Yeah.
They're like, but people don't understand I'm in the studio with the artist. Like, Ross is still an artist at the time. So, like, I'm day to day with everyone. So, it's like, I was like, damn, I ain't really getting them. Then with the Nipsey shit, it was like Nipsey still was Nipsey, even though what we did with Victory Lab was special. And, even getting him to sign with a major was a big deal and shit like that. So, I feel like the Roddy shit was like, okay, this was done with nothing from scratch, you know what I'm saying? So I think that was just very important with people realizing like, okay, what can we say about him now? You know what I'm saying? To kind of put everybody, the critics to the sideline.
Do you remember, talk about, because Roddy's album, one of the biggest albums of the last 10 years, The Box is one of the biggest. Is when Roddy did The Box, did he go back in and add the eat like?
No, he had that from jump.
So that was already in there.
That was already in there.
When you heard like
he did that like when he recorded, like Roddy does voices in a lot of his songs that people are gonna start realizing as far as like when he keeps more music out, but he always does shit like that.
That was like his idea. It wasn't a part of the beat. Nothing.
Absolutely not. It was not part of the beat. It was all Roddy's idea.
It's funny because I was in Hawaii on my honeymoon when the album came out, and that was the record. I remember everybody was talking about, I forget which record with a big feature on it, but I remember telling DJ Amen, like, bro, I'm in Hawaii riding around in a convertible. This This the box shit is the one, bro. Like
it's so crazy because that was like one of the last 2 records he recorded before he turned in his project. So we already had a rollout plan with everything besides the box.
Damn.
That's why the video took so long to get out.
It's crazy because I haven't seen an artist besides, I think Kendrick's Damn record, as far as like songs that just ran radio for as long, like High Fashion, Ballin', like these records are still like in power rotation in radio stations.
Absolutely.
It's like they research, like it's insane, bro. It's crazy. I mean, he's been teasing this new Feed the Street shit. Is that what's next?
I hope so.
You hope so. How many records is he sitting on?
At least 100.
100.
At least. Roddy does like 5 songs a day.
It's crazy.
Yeah, he makes so much music. Like Roddy he walk in here right now and set up a studio right here and make 10 songs.
That shit is
on this
wild.
table.
Yeah, it's he's like one of those. I tell people there's a few artists that it's hard for them to make a bad song.
Yeah.
Yo, I feel like Roddy's like shit. Like you listen to all his shit, like it's like hard for. I feel like Post Malone's one of those guys where like there might be some Post Malone songs you might not fuck with, but it's hard for Post Malone to make a shitty song. Like Roddy Ricch, like Roddy's one of them artists who's like just his melodies are so crazy, like the way he can float on a verse.
Nah, he's special. He's definitely like he's like one of those artists that come around every 10 years.
100%,
You know what I'm saying?
100%. Were you, with the lack of Grammy nomination for the rap album of the year, was that something that you kind of took personal?
I don't really take the Grammy stuff personal no more. I just, at the end of the day, man, like I think we do music to kind of, for the culture and to feed our families and things like that. I don't really know. We got a Grammy with Racks in the Middle.
Of course.
So, that was a highlight moment, but, at the end of the day, like just seeing the success that Roddy has now and, just the kind of way he's living life is just, that's the dope shit to see.
Are you instrumental in the new music he's working on, or is he kind of just doing his thing?
He's doing his thing. I think Roddy's at the point where, him and Kiefer are kind of so locked in. I'm just, whenever they need me, I'm here. But, whatever they need from me, of course, but I don't think Roddy needs help from anybody.
That's fair. So, some of the newer artists that you're working with, I know you're playing a part in Corday's new music.
Yep, working on Corday's
I've heard
new
some stuff
project. Yep.
With he's got some crazy features. We won't talk about those, but he's definitely got some shit.
Yeah,
that is in the can. And then Simba.
Yes.
So Simba is somebody who you're really kind of helping.
Yes.
Like it reminds me of the Roddy situation.
Yes.
And Simba, somebody who we had. What year did we have Simba on the show? 2017. Something like that. It is a while ago. Mm-hmm. But Simba's somebody who has been around.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like was kind of like a unpolished gem.
Yeah.
That was just sitting around that like, it just somebody needed to just come along and be like, yo,
yeah, let's
do this shit.
It was crazy because me and Simba relationship started off real organic. So his producer, he has a producer named Cass that I'm super cool with.
Yeah, shout out to the homie Cass.
Yeah, Cass, what's up? He was hitting me, and he's like, excuse me. He's like, I got this artist, man. I think he's the next Jay-Z.
It's a lot to say, right?
So I'm like, man, so when you get these calls as an A&R, you be like,
yeah, sure.
All right, man.
Yeah.
You got the next hoe.
Right.
My brother. And they be your friends too, so you just be like, all right, man. You know what I'm saying? So he's telling me like, man, so I'm like, man, it's no way you have the next hoe, bro. So anyways, I do this little thing at my office. It was called Pass the Aux, where I had like mad music producers and writers come, and I have food and drinks for everybody, and we just was in the conference room playing music. And Simba stepped to the aux cord and started playing me his music, and I was just looking like, oh, this kid is different. You know what I'm saying? I just knew he had a different energy, and Sim's just a likable person.
Definitely.
So when I set up a meeting with him the next day, and he played me some more shit, and I was just blown away. And I was like, we going to New York next week. Took him to New York next week and just signed him.
Wow.
Like, I think Julie heard 2 records. She said, welcome to Atlanta Records. I'm like, damn, Julie, you showing all your cards right now. So Julie loved him immediately. The whole staff loved him. And, like, if the COVID shit didn't happen last year, I think, you know, Sim would even be further ahead than he is right now.
Yeah, I think, like, you know, because I remember talking to him, and I think, you know, obviously a lot of the stuff you guys had planned kind of got rearranged.
Yes.
But I think it all worked out.
Yeah.
I mean, really, that LA Leakers freestyle is, I think, what really kind of showed everybody, like,
Absolutely.
Damn.
Absolutely.
Like, this motherfucker is here. Like, who is this guy?
We got so much love from that, man. And just like, you know, the feedback was great. And, you know, the project, you know, we really excited for our first project. So now I think the goal is just stay consistent with the music and just getting music out there.
And some of those records that he played, those are still coming out.
Yeah, they're still coming out. They were just going through sample clearances that are clear now. So we got a lot of shit.
So there was a record that was supposed to be on his album called Westside Griselda.
Yeah.
Why didn't that? It was the sample thing.
It was a sample.
It was him and Jason Cash.
Jason Cash. Yeah.
Shout out
Jason Cash.
Yeah, another artist who you're working with.
Yeah, so Jason Cash, somebody else that I'm working with right now that is signed from the West Coast. So I'm super excited about him. But I met him through Simba.
Yep.
Him and Simba were making a lot of music together, and I just loved his energy and shit. I mean, the music he's been making has been crazy. Like, I'm really excited for everybody to hear his shit too. So, you know, we doing something special, man. I got a studio out here. We call it The Trap.
Yep.
And, you know, it's just like a great music space where, you know, creatives could come and it's no egos and everybody's working together because we're all trying to see each other win. So, you know, when people come there, man, it's just special music that's being made.
Who's somebody who you tried to sign that didn't work out, that you kind of were like, that almost happened?
Polo G.
Yep. Damn, that would have been crazy.
It was out of me and one other label, and I didn't push the button on something that I should have did that I regret to this day. And he went with the other label instead.
So it was close.
I was there. He was in the Atlantic office and everything. We were close. I had him come to the studio, and then the night that he came to the studio, I had Meek, Roddy working together. Like, it was one of those nights. So, you know,
that's one that you wish you could get back.
Man, yeah,
I can only imagine.
I'm a big fan of him. So,
yo, has you know somebody who I heard, you know, someone who Jason Cash got a great relationship with?
Yeah,
is Blast.
Yes,
Blast, from my knowledge, is still not signed.
Nah, I don't think that's true.
I know he was with Red Bull.
Yeah.
But maybe since the last time I talked to him, some shit has changed.
Yeah.
But I feel like Blast is one of them ones.
He's incredible. Him and Cash got to smash together.
They got to smash.
Yes, they do.
And a lot of people don't realize they like came up together. Yeah. Jason was telling me stories about like he was just bringing Blast everywhere with him back in the day.
Yeah, they got a dope relationship, man. So it's glad to see like them go their own ways and come back together. You know what I'm saying? So it's dope to see.
For people watching this who are artists, or for, you know, I always tell artists that there's really no excuse for you to not be on your shit in 2020, 2021 because you know, the internet from when you first got in, we were talking earlier, you know, the days of like you needing to meet someone and pass them your tape or all that shit's gone. Yeah. Like, you know, you're straight to consumer now, but like what are the things that you would tell up and coming artists that they need to have like together, you know what I'm saying, to be taken serious?
I mean, you know, what bothers me, a lot of up and coming artists don't even take the time to figure out who the players are in the game. So, you know, like I hate when people come up to me and they be like, "Oh, you work with me? What do you do?" Like it'd be like, then they be like, "Oh, can you take?" I'm like, I'm not about to explain what I do. Then,
right?
Like, you know, like when I was coming up, I knew who everybody was at every label. So if I did run into them, I would know something about their story to be compelling enough for them to want to take my information. Nowadays, they just be like, "I DM'd you." You be like, "Bruh,
what does that mean?"
Ain't how I move. Like,
right.
You know what I'm saying? So. I mean, honestly, you know, I think what helped me best was being a student of the game and realizing what people did before me to get to where they're at. You know, reading books and things like that to kind of help put me on a path to understanding what it takes to be good at what I do. But, you know, I think just understanding that and just work ethic. You know, the entitlement is really
at an all-time high, man.
It's at an all-time high right now. It's very concerning for me. You know what I'm saying? Man. Because
on the artist side and on the background, like on you know, like on your side, yeah,
it's bad, man. Like, you know, everybody wants the big salary, big check, but don't want to check in.
That's some real shit.
You know,
what do you look for in an artist when you know? Is it obviously metrics aside, because we've already established that that's not the end all be all for you. What do you look for?
I like when So right now we're in a wave of, I want to say baby Roddies.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? I like when there's like a wave of music going and I hear something that's going completely in the other direction. That's why Simba was dope for me at the time because nobody was rapping no more. It was everybody. Mumble rap was big and all these little whatevers, you know what I'm saying?
I feel like even the guys who get credit as like good rappers now aren't even really good rappers.
Yeah.
They're just good rappers compared to like
what's going on out here.
Yeah, like outside of like the Griseldas and like the Gibbs and all that shit, but like on the mainstream side, there's like people who really get credit for being like dope that aren't even that dope. I'm like, they're dope for like compared to who, you know what I'm saying? So you like that original, the originality.
Yeah, I just like when there's a wave going, I like somebody that's going in a total different direction.
That's fair. That's fair. What's next for you, man?
Right next is for me really turning Asylum into a powerhouse label. Breaking some acts this year. I got Sada Baby and Ken the Man as my first two acts on my Asylum roster that are a priority for me. So making sure that their projects are amazing and helping them whatever I could do.
You just signed a kid from Indiana too.
I just signed a kid named J Lau from Indianapolis. He's on some trap soul shit that's incredible. And of course I got Simba and Jason Cash that are up next for me and Corday as well. So just working.
Sada Baby.
Yes.
That was somebody who was already on Asylum when you got.
Him and Ken the Man was. Yep.
Right. So I remember you told me, you're like, yo, when I found out that Ken the Man was on the roster, I'm like, yo, this is a slam dunk right here.
Absolutely.
How is it working with Sada Baby? I've had some really interesting experiences with him. Yeah. We did an interview here that never came out because he was falling asleep throughout the whole interview.
Okay, he probably because he was in the studio all fucking night.
I don't know. Or it could have been what was in his cup.
Yeah, that
one of the two. But he's a very funny dude. And then he booked the studio one night and they had
50 people.
Oh my God. They booked both rooms. Shit was this was like June.
Yeah.
No, like COVID was not even a thing. Like my engineers are hitting me like, what do we do? I'm like, nothing. It's a rap studio. We're gonna get one of these every once in a while.
Absolutely.
But what's it like,
Yeah, so my first time working with Sada was last week. He came to LA for a week and worked, and man, I really got to just understand his process. He's a very hard worker. I think he has a vision to, his madness.
Of course.
And I think he just wants to be respected as a dope artist in his music game. You know what I'm saying? He's putting out a lot of records, a lot of content. And, I just think that this year is going to be one of those years that I think he's going to break as one of the big artists in the game, for sure.
And then Ken the Man she's from Houston.
Yeah, Ken the Man's exciting because I never got to work with a female rapper.
It's a female and her name's Ken the Man.
Yeah.
It was confusing.
Yeah. So I guess the whole persona, she could get on her man shit with the ladies. You know what I'm saying?
Her manager, Melissa, hit me and was like, yo, can I bring Ken the Man up? This was, a year and a half or two ago? And I was like, yeah, what's his Instagram? She's like, oh, it's a girl. I was like, what the fuck? But then she came and spazzed the fuck out, man.
Yes, yeah, that freestyle is dope as fuck she did with you.
Yeah,
so.
She's incredible. So be on the lookout for her. And then are you currently are you always looking for talent?
I'm always looking for talent, but now, as I'm getting higher up as far as just I got a team, I got A&Rs now. So, of course they're bringing stuff to my attention every day, but I got to really make sure I'm balancing what I have the right way because I don't want to get so many artists that I'm losing focus on, the artists I have. Is
Asylum going to kind of act also as like a distribution platform for some artists, kind of like in the way that there's Empire?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So you're going to be doing some distro, and then if something really starts moving, that's when the upstream happens.
Yep. Yeah, it's great for me because I could do so many unique deals. I could do joint ventures, 50-50 splits, 70-30 splits.
Right.
Just it depends what an artist wants, what services they want, and what they want to bring to the table. Because if you want to stay independent, you want to do a one-off mixtape to see if you even like how we structured over there at Asylum and things like that. It gives the opportunity to get into the system, see if they like it, and don't be tied down for 5 or 6 albums and saying fuck the label on their next tweet.
Well, historically, Asylum is known as a hip hop label.
Yes.
Back in the day, it was like Bun B and was Mike Jones on Asylum?
Mike Jones, Mike Jones,
shit, right? Are you strictly looking for hip hop acts?
Slim Thug wasn't on Mike Jones. I meant
it was Mike Jones.
Yeah, Mike Jones. I'm definitely gonna keep it hip hop. You know what I'm saying? But I do want to do some progressive R&B shit. You know what I'm saying? I think J Louda's a great artist that we're going to introduce to the world that's going to really, you know, show that trap soul. Because I think trap soul is going to become like a real force in the music business right now. You know what I'm saying? Like artists that
someone just said that should be its own genre. I forget who tweeted that.
Yeah, trap soul is. I think Quavo did.
Quavo.
Yeah.
By the way, shout out to Bryson Tiller.
He the first one.
Yeah, for sure.
He definitely opened up the door for it. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of these artists, man, you know, they from the street, but they sing.
Do you find it hard balancing, because you're a family man, I'm a family man. I feel like it's hard to kind of balance being a boss and moving around and like kind of that work-life balance. Is that like how do you kind of do that, man? Because it's tough.
It's tough, man. I mean, shit, it's like, you know, I have to really just make sure that I only go to the studio. Like I can't really hang out with my artists as much as I want to when they're going to clubs and things like that. I really just have to focus on the office and be with them in the studio.
It's got to be something special.
Yeah, it has to be something worth it. Like, you know what I'm saying? I can't just go to the club with you because y'all taking some hoes out. You know what I'm saying? So,
like, I'm assuming you won't be going to All-Star Weekend.
Nah. Exactly.
Right.
Things like that. Like, there's no point for me to be
like,
there.
what am I going out there for? Yeah. That's fair. Yeah, that's you got to pick and choose those moments.
Absolutely.
I feel you. I'm on that same shit.
Yeah. So, you know, things that make sense for me to be at, like if I have an artist doing something special in the city that they, you know, they want me to be
something
at,
to them,
that means something to them, I'll be there. But, you know, a lot of artists respect that I do have a family. You know what I'm saying? So they're going to make sure that, you know, they're going to let me know things they want to be at. But, you know, I think artists' main focus is me being in the studio with them opposed to the club.
Boom. Well, look, Dallas, appreciate your time.
Yep. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for having me, man. This
all
shit's
good.
been fun.
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
I think your story's dope. And I think, you know, I always tell everybody, like, yo, Dallas, like, your come up has been crazy to witness, bro. So salute.
Appreciate it, man.
Bootleg Kev Podcast wrapping up. Boom.
Thank you, man.
Perfect.
Yeah, man. Had a good time, bro.